In this little demo I will show you how to create a SQLite database in Universal App and how to bind it. So I prepared a little sample here in the background, but we're gonna start on a blank machine. So what we do now, we create a new project. We don't need him anymore. And we start here a new project and we say database test 02. And now when we start, we go step by step there. So as you see, system created in that project. Now what we have to do is we have first let's have a look on there. You have to manage your NuGet packages there, and you have to install SQLitePCL, this one. Take the first one and install it into your app. Here it will come there. Here it is. And then we have to in here we have to add a reference, and this in the Universal Windows in the extensions you need this one, the SQLite for Universal Windows platform. That's a UWP 10, here the version 3.13, but the other ones work too. And you have also to install Visual C++ 2015, for example, with target version 14. Now when you have this one, now we start with the main page. Always the main page is the first page which comes up. Now, and in the background I open my other folder example where my code is, and I show you on the blank code. Okay, we are here in this system. We don't need this one anymore. Here we are, and this is our new sample. Let's run it on a desktop, but it also works on a phone and an ARM and tablet, all the other devices. So this is the blank app, and there's nothing on there. So that's it. Now what we do is in this example I'm loading the folders from my library, and for this I need a button. So we take the toolbox and then we take a button, and I want to read all folders and read it into the database, SQLite database, and then show it on a list. So you see the function of the database. So we have here this button, and in the button I say, okay, this is read this, create a database. Create database. DB. So when you run an app, at the first moment you don't have a database created, and you create it by a string, SQL string. This is button create DB. Okay, and then we add a click. When we click on that equals, then we get a new event like this one. Okay. Now we go on. We go into this code, go to definition, and here is our sample. Don't need this one. And now I switch to my prepared code, so I don't have to type it and waste the time on that. Here it is, my create database. I do the same one here. Go to definition, and now I picked my code. So what we have to do there in our new project, we have to enter here the namespace of the SQLite. As soon as you have typed in here the SQLitePCL, then you will get the methods and all that stuff from there. You won't find the SQLite reference in here. When you double click on that, there are no objects, SQLite string and all this stuff is not there. So we have to run it on SQLitePCL. And when we enter the namespace there, then we can also program it here. So that's important. We need a SQLite from the let's start here. SQLitePCL. This is this namespace, and there in this namespace there's a SQLite connection. What does a connection? The connection, when we have this, we don't need it here anymore. And here public is not used there. So the SQLite connection is the path which connects our database, the information string, and it's a little bit more. It handles everything. It opens the connection to the database. It creates, deletes, and does all the stuff with that, and runs through the records. So at the first, we have to create a database in the first moment because nothing is there, and we do it by a simple new SQLite connection, this folder. And if nothing, when we say create a table, the folder DB, this is the database, the database will be created also at that moment. So now I start this one, and I explain what we do there. This is my real code, and I take this is a public object, SQLite the database connection string. Keep it public when we have further work to do. So what we do when we push on this button, we say, okay, create a new connection of this folder, and then give me a string, SQL string, which says create a table if it not exists, and the table name is folders, because in my example we want to read all folders from a directory. And then we have to set, we need an ID column, and a folder name column, and a path column. This is SQL string. I don't know if you confirm with this, but this SQL, and we go in a moment later into SQL strings. But at the moment you can create a table if it doesn't exist, when the table is called folder. And this is the structure inside. Then we say, okay, create a new SQLite statement, and the connection statement by this connection here or here, and take this string and run this string and check against the engine, the database, and then step through that. And then it creates a database, but we don't know where this database is, so we need a second button. And now in our example, open the folder. The folder is in the local database, local application folder. So I say okay. Now we go a little bit faster. Give me that code, and I say okay, I need a second button, this one. And the button, go to the definition of this one, give me a new folder, open the folder where all that stuff is. I think so. This is a storage folder. Show me the local storage folder of my app. And yeah, and the database is called FolderDB. Okay, I will run now this example. Now it's a brand new app called DB test02. Now the blank app comes up, and now we create the database for this example, but I don't know where it is, so I open my folder to my app. It's always difficult to read this stuff, and we will find it. Here it is, folders DB. This is the folder for my app, and next to the local state there's the DB folder. When we open that, we will see nothing. Yeah, it's code. And to get this one, we need a tool, a database tool. Close this again. This cool tool is you have seen it just in the background. There's a tool available on the extensions here, extension updates, and the tool is called SQL Server Compact or SQLite Toolbox. When we open this one, we will see this one. And I don't need this one, delete it. So this is a blank box, and we need now a connection to this database in the background. The database is here. Here's the database, but and we need the path to there. Now we say okay, my toolbox, give me right mouse button, give me a new SQLite connection. Then we say browse. Now we have to look up this stuff, so I say enter my path which I've opened from my app, and there you will see at my database, no, that's the wrong one. Here it is. Here's my folder DB. Now when I open this one, you will see nothing happens there. I have to close it. This is just a string which says where the path is. And now when I open it, you see this little container. There are the tables, and there's also the folder, table folder. And I may edit this one, and you see there's a folder, a column which is with the name folder name, and one with a path, and nothing is in there. Okay, so we want to fill now this little container with values. And how are we doing this? In this case I say okay, let's read the folders from a drive, from a directory, because I need it in another application. So I close this again. I don't need it again, and because we have it here now. I prepared all that stuff in my other application. Okay, I said read the library, read this directory. Okay, yep. here is the code, and I said okay, read the library, or read the this one, go to the definition, read something, and I'm quite lazy today. I take that code, and the code is on my the code will be in my website. So what you see there now is an async method, which is called button read library. And what we do there, we say okay, we need a storage library, which is a directory with folders inside, and we want to open the known library ID pictures. So when we need access to this picture folder, we also, in this case, we have to go to the capabilities, and then here we need the picture folder. Where is it? Library, pictures library. Oh, I didn't see it. Okay. So we get access when the application says okay, I need access to your pictures. And as soon as this, when it awaits this storage, I get a storage library, then I have the library, and then I say okay, for each storage folder in this library dot folders, show me all folders from there. Now it goes in there, and I say the folder, give me the folder name and the folder dot path. As you see, there's a the property path and name. And then I say okay, it might happen sometimes that there's when we have strings, a single sign like this one is not allowed, so I have to replace it by two apostrophes. I don't know the English word for it. Now I say I need a new SQL string. When we are here in the table, then we work with SQL strings, and for all that stuff it gets a script, and the script for this one, insert a new row there, is script as insert. When you click on there, you get this string, which is called insert into the folders table, into the first column, second column, third column, and there are integer and the stuff. Okay, I will take this for example in here. Now you could say I drop it in here. So, so the same what you see there is I say equals my string is insert into this one, the folder, a bracket around there, so it knows it's not a string, it's a column or object or something like this, and then into the first folder, only the folder name and the path. We don't need the ID folder because this is an increment, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then a bracket around bracket around that. The values are first value, second value, and there's always an apostrophe around this stuff. Okay, now I take this out again. Now we say okay, insert into the table, first column, second column, the values are first value, and here is I take the folder name and I take the path, and then I say my connection, which I've got there. Here the first connection when I started this one, my app, there's a public string db connection, and this is always there because it's public when as soon as you open that stuff. Then you say okay, db connection, there's a prepare, always prepare anything. Prepare means my string opens and then prepare the information to the database. The database says okay, the stuff inside there, run this stuff, and this is called step method. Okay. So what we do there now, we run to there, to this stuff, and then we fill it. Okay. I make a breakpoint in there so you will see what's going on. And I have to run it in a second. Oh, okay. I have to go to the kitchen. But 5 minutes. Okay. Now running this example, we already created this database and we opened that folder. Now, this is the wrong one, the wrong example, but it works the same way. This one. And here, now we say the same stuff here, and I say, okay, give me a breakpoint for each. When I come in there, run it. Okay, I run it there. Same example, looks the same, and it's blank. So created it, opened that folder, read all folders, and now I in there, and I say, okay, here we have my first folder name is pictures or builder, and this is the path into there, and I say, okay, prepare this one. The string itself is insert into folders, folder name, path, and then the values. Okay. Maybe we can show it. Here it is. Here it's insert into folders, path, folder name, path, and then the value, and the value is, I can't read it in this point because the Visual Studio doesn't show it. Okay, so because they don't like this apostrophes, but the database wants one, so it knows that stuff. Okay, and now I run it, and when I now go to my folder and say, okay, show me the first line, and I will see the first row. Okay, and again I say, okay, give me the folder, next folder, path, and for each, yeah, the same. Okay, two times the same folder. Yeah, I really have two folders with the same name, and I say, okay, show me that stuff, and this is also the second folder name, but another path to there. So I've inserted row by row, and now I stop that stuff, and I hope I could see now that how to handle those SQL strings, and to fill a list I have to go the other sample now. Here we also have a list, and local machine, run it. When you read always those folders, then you also want to show it on a list. Here it is, the list. It's not good. Now I filled a list with this one, so this is a select command. And how does this one run? Here's the fill button. Here fill, and the fill is done. Go to definition. We say, okay, again a string SQL, which is called select my folder and my path, those columns from the folders. And then I say, okay, I need again a statement, and the database prepare. The statement is the stuff, the connection, all the stuff, like a query or record set, SQL from there, yeah. And then I say, I think it's record sets. Yeah, record sets in AutoDB. So while I run to every row, while my step equals, while there is a equal row system, while a row is there, give me this folder name and the path from this record set or record table of the column folder name, as string and path as string. Take this one and then add an item, add items. I created a list there. Here's a list. You see in this one an items list, and then add an item with this one, and the items are the item source of a column list or list like this one. Here's a list, and the list is bound on the list box. So what did we learn on this point? We can select all strings by a SQLite statement. Give me the connection, prepare this one, and inside a SQL is a string to the database, and then we can go step by step through all these rows and of these record sets. Yes, and that's it. You've seen the database is running, and I hope I could explain you how this works, because I was working, I was really confused when I referenced to the SQLite here. I couldn't find any objects there or references, and in the object library what you have to do, you have to work with SQLitePCL in Universal Windows Apps. I take the code into my website, and there's a link on there so you can run this sample by yourself, and I hope I could help you with this one. And if you liked it, give me a thumb on there and subscribe my folder. And I have to go to the kitchen.